All right, final hour for this week. Gotta love it. Weekend looms in front of me. Just hours away from Indiana taking on Oregon to see if they're going to get into the championship game for the national championship in college football. Of course, last night, as I reported to you in the first hour of the show, the U. All right, University of Miami. Haven't said that in a long time. The U. Didn't do like this. That's their hand sign. The U. They haven't had much to talk about for about a decade, and now here they're back into the national championship. And I got to give them credit watching the game last night. I thought that their offensive line was pretty incredible. They were pushing Ole Miss's defensive line all over the field. And maybe it's just I'm old school. You don't have to throw the ball for me to be, to enjoy a football game. If you can run the ball and run it down somebody's throat, I'm more than happy to watch you do it. There's something to be said for really good offensive line play that opens up the holes you need for a good offensive running attack. And last night, man, Miami was pushing Ole Miss all over the field, and I think that's what I would have done. I would have very seldom not run. The only time I might have passed is, they were making a lot of stupid penalties last night, Miami, and so they would get themselves into positions that they would become up to 3rd and 7 or something like that, maybe a little longer. Then I would go ahead and if I had to throw, I'd throw at that point. But as long as I could run the ball, I would have just kept running down the throat. They controlled the ball for over 40 minutes in the game. I think they could have run that up probably close to 50 minutes. Think about that for a second. That if they could have controlled that game for 50 minutes, the game is only 60 minutes long. And that means Ole Miss would have had, literally about 10 minutes or less to get their offense onto the field and seeing if Trinidad could do his magic at the QB position. But tonight, Indiana plays in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Fieldhouse against Oregon. Now, they beat Oregon earlier in the season, and everybody keeps saying it's hard to beat a team twice. Yeah, it is, but Indiana not only beat Oregon, but they beat them on their home field. And they had the Oregon defense running in circles during that game. And what did Indiana do a lot of during that game? They rushed the football. They've got a great offensive line for their football team. It's going to be fun to see what they do tonight there in Atlanta, see how things go for them. But anyway, I got my fingers crossed, want Indiana to win, and I'll be watching the game on ESPN tonight. And then some of the playoffs are going to start for the NFL as well. Monday, going to be a good game Monday night on Monday Night Football. It's going to be the Bears and the Packers. The Bears and the Packers. The Bears, they hate each other. So that'll be a fun game to watch. Now, during the break at the top of the hour, we had talked about the police officer that had shot a driver here in Little Rock because the driver tried to run him down with his car, and he shot him through the windshield. You had an update on that, right, Tom? Go ahead and bring us up to date.
Yeah, I actually found the article here that was posted, I think, updated back in November.
All right.
It was saying the former Little Rock officer that was involved in the 2019 shooting actually is owed over $72,000 in back pay. The court, after investigation, they actually let's see here, they ruled the shooting by Starks to be justified.
Right. It was justified, and then they said that, for the time that he was, thrown off the force, he needed to be paid for that time.
That plus attorney fees and all the court costs he's getting.
Oh, he's getting it all. Okay, good. Okay, so there's a perfect example of if you try to run somebody down with your automobile, and they find it's a righteous shooting, which I think is what they're going to find in this case, because when it was first reported about this lady, Good, getting shot in Minneapolis, they were saying that the gun hole was in the side of the car. Well, that wasn't the case. It was in the windshield, which leads you to believe that she was aimed right at the police officer. And it's going to take a while to work it all out. And just to be honest, to be the guy that pulled the trigger, don't think that the other side is ever going to forgive you, because they're not. They're not. They hate you, and that's the way it is. Even though you were just upholding the law and doing your job, that's what they're doing. I mean, it's just like, what's his name there in Wisconsin, that they found him not guilty of killing somebody with a gun that he had, because the people were attacking him during those Black Lives Matter riots. I'm trying to think of where those, what city that was in Wisconsin. Rittenhouse was the guy's name. And, he went to go to school out in Arizona, and Arizona tried to keep him from being able to go to their school because he had shot that person. And they thought he was guilty, but he had been found not guilty by a jury of his peers. So they couldn't stop him after that. But kids at the school, I'm sure, were giving him grief about that. So he had to. He's got to live with that. I haven't heard too much about him in a while now. Last year seemed to be pretty quiet dealing with him. So that's good that he can get on with his life and not be made into a pariah by people about something that he did. All right, Minnesota's teachers union demanded that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement stay away from schools in Minneapolis. They made this demand today. Quote, "We need ICE out of Minneapolis now. We need ICE out of Minnesota now. We need ICE away from our schools now," Katina Taylor, the president of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators, Local 59, said during a news conference. Quote, "Since arriving, ICE has been a dangerous and out-of-control force." That's BS. That's not true. The problems that have happened have been by anti-ICE agitators. They're the ones that are stirring it up all the time. A mother was murdered. An elementary school was forced to lock down. Grown men used pepper spray on terrified high school students on school property, and that was just on Wednesday. This is the opposite of protecting our kids. This is the opposite of keeping the peace. Nothing about this is okay. Nothing. DHS Public Affairs Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said that, quote, "Our law enforcement does not go into schools unless there is a public safety threat within those schools. What we saw on Wednesday, which one of the educators was referring to, was there was an individual who was assaulting our law enforcement, and he started a chase that went about 5 miles. The subject of this chase started going over barriers. He was running red lights, and eventually he took the chase onto school grounds. Our law enforcement did not go into this school, but did make sure to defuse the situation. At least a dozen people have been taken into custody in Minneapolis during anti-ICE protests there. On Friday morning today, police in Minneapolis were seen dismantling a tent and working to clear other debris set up near the location where Good was shot on Wednesday. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension announced that it had, quote, reluctantly withdrawn, unquote, from the investigation into the shooting, alleging it was informed by the FBI it would no longer have access to materials required for a thorough and independent review. Now, that's BS, too. Yeah, I got about a minute, you saying? Is that when I got to break? Okay. So in 60 seconds here, let me just say this. Again, I'll go back and repeat what I said last time. Why would ICE allow city police, state police in Minnesota, who have been working diligently to not help ICE do their job in Minnesota, come in and take part in an investigation, which they are clearly showing that they've already made up their mind of how that went down. I don't think that that's a ridiculous thing at all. They have not been cut out. They don't have any jurisdiction in the investigation, said Kristi Noem. Can't cut somebody out of an investigation that they have no right to be involved in. And I agree with them. I'd say thanks, no thanks, and then move on. Let's move on. All right, time to take a break. Let's do that. Don't forget about our good friends at PI Roofing. PI Roofing is a great roofing company, but, when they're not out roofing, they're available to do all kinds of other work for you. They are a independent contractor. Those guys that do those roofs are carpenters, and if you let's say you want to build a deck, you get a hold of PI Roofing at piroofing.com. Tell them what it is you want to do. Have them out to your house. Show them the place you want to build it, and they'll tell you how much it's going to cost. Then you go from there. If you agree that, that's the kind of price that, gives you, goosebumps up and down your back, go ahead and use them. They're very, very, very popular, and they're very, very talented. Again, if you don't need a roof, but you need somebody that's into construction, independent construction, think PI Roofing. Visit them online at piroofing.com. All right, back here on the Dave Elswick Show. I just think it's ridiculous that they're making a big deal out of these groups in Minnesota that want to be part of this federal investigation into the shooting of this woman, when they are absolutely against ICE. They're against the Border Patrol. They are, they're not the kind of, you want independent people to look into this. And that's not what they want to do. They're trying to devise their own scenario and are trying to push it forward about all of that. All right, I was looking, there was a interesting story today that Trump's energy chief has been speaking on strengthening U.S. energy for the oil in Iran and whatnot, and it's the energy secretary speaking on it and saying that it will be amazing to everybody what's going to happen when the big oil companies get in there and put a lot of money into these oil facilities and bring them up to snuff again. I mean, look, it wasn't more than, 25 years ago, is that about right, when Chavez took over in Venezuela and destroyed it. And now they're trying to make sure that they can get it rebuilt, and the big oil companies are going to do that. The big oil companies are owed, millions of dollars from the Venezuelan treasury that they haven't been paid for building their oil industry there in Venezuela. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see what happens with that. Last week we talked about this person, a dentist in Ohio, that was killed at his home. And it was a terrible story about it. But they now are saying that evidently there's finger pointing going on at the husband. Experts are saying that they're believing it was the husband. Surveillance video and details emerging from the crime scene where an Ohio dentist and his wife were killed are offering investigators and analysts clues about how the crime may have unfolded, even as police say they have not identified a suspect. Columbus police recently released grainy surveillance video showing a person of interest walking through an alley near 37-year-old Spencer Tepe and 39-year-old Monique Tepe's Vineland Park home between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. on December 30th. Former Fort Worth Police Chief Jeffrey Halstead said the timing of the video stands out particularly given the winter weather conditions. Quote, what would be the reason for going out when it's that cold in that region with that kind of weather conditions, Halstead told Fox News. It does look a little bit suspicious, adding that officers would typically want to know why someone was out in those conditions at that hour. Halstead cautioned, however, that investigators must determine how the video relates to the killings inside the home. The challenge is going to be how that is relative to the horrific crime that was committed at the home. Police have not named a suspect in the double murder, and Halstead said releasing video early in the investigation often signals that authorities are seeking help from the public. If you look historically, the release of a video very quickly is usually due to the fact there is no identified suspect at that time. Peter Valentin, an associate professor of forensic science at the University of New Haven in Connecticut, said the video may also be significant for what it reveals about the individual's behavior. It seems fairly obvious that the person who's walking in the alley either sees that actual camera or has some general awareness that a camera is there in the alley. Valentine says they seem to make a concerted effort to keep their head pointed down. He said the video provides investigators with a timestamp and a narrow geographic focus, allowing police to refine requests for additional video from nearby homes and businesses. We'll pick this up when we come back after the news here at the bottom of the hour. All right, which is just around the corner here, and we got about 8 seconds before we're going to go to that. So let's check out the news. Then we'll come back and talk more about this murder here on the Dave Elswick Show. Here on the Dave Elswick Show, and we're down to the last half hour of the gig for this week. So let's look and see what else we have to look at here about the news and what's going on out there. We've been talking about this Ohio dentist murder. They found this alley video. There's no forced entry, and there's a lot of people that are fueling insiders' fears for experts, and I think they're leaning towards there may be some kind of a murder-suicide here. Police haven't named the suspect yet, and Halstead, the detective, said releasing video early in an investigation often signals that authorities are seeking help from the public. I mean, if people start hearing about this, maybe somebody who they don't know about knows about this couple and knows something that was going on, behind closed doors or whatever. It seems fairly obvious that the person who's walking in the alley either saw the actual camera or had some general awareness that a camera was in the alley. They seem to make a concerted effort to keep their head pointed down so they can't be identified. Valentin said the video provides investigators with a timestamp and a narrower geographic focus, allowing police to refine requests for additional video from nearby homes and businesses. Quote, it narrows down the time frame, at least for the egress, he said, referring to when the person was leaving the area. What we don't know is how long they were in the area prior to this occurring. Were they there beforehand? Is this person known to the couple? Have they been there before? Police have said there were no signs of forced entry into the home. Also said that detail is deeply concerning in a case involving a violent crime. When it looks like access was either granted or the ease of access was accomplished, then somehow there's a relationship or previous access that was made, he said, adding that it would be unlikely for a young professional couple to leave their home unsecured overnight. There was no signs of forced entry, and that doesn't mean there wasn't forced entry. It just means that there was no sign of forced entry that was observed. So there could have been forced entry, is what they're saying. Detectives believe the murders took place between 2 and 5 a.m. on December 30th. Both of the couple's children were found safe inside the home. Both experts said that the fact that the couple's children were unharmed may eventually help investigators narrow their focus. Historically, it leans to the person not having an extreme mental illness, Halstead said, adding that it could suggest familiarity with the family or children, though he said that investigators would then need to confirm that through evidence. Halstead said that the biggest challenge in cases like this is time. The longer this goes, the greater likelihood that the leads get weaker and weaker, he said, calling time the enemy in high-profile homicide investigations. Police have said the investigation remains ongoing and have asked anyone with information related to the surveillance video or the events surrounding the killings to contact authorities. In a statement, the couple's family said they are heartbroken beyond words, called the deaths tragic and senseless. They were extraordinary people whose lives were filled with love, joy, and deep connection to others, read the statement. Spencer, who is a graduate of the Ohio State University, was known as a devoted and proud father, a loving partner, and a friend to everyone he met, and that he was intelligent, warm, and endlessly welcoming. Family members described Monique as a loving, patient, and joyful mother whose warmth defined her. Rob Misla, Spencer's brother-in-law, told WSYX that the couple was going to celebrate their 5-year anniversary next month after getting married in 2021. So they're going to have to hope that some people come forward, I guess, and give them some new leads on this particular crime, because it sounds like they're coming to an end of knowing what's going on as far as that. A Texas dad found himself a diamond down south here in Arkansas at the Diamond State Park. A Texas man unearthed an unexpected treasure during a family trip, all thanks to his sons and his wife, Siri. Arkansas State Parks recently shared news about the find, which was made at Crater of Diamond State Park in Pike County. 41-year-old James Ward unearthed the 2.09 carat brown diamond on December 30th. Ward, who lives in Cypress, Texas, was visiting the park with his wife Elizabeth and their 2 young sons, Adrian 9 and Austin 7. Visiting that park was the 7-year-old's idea, according to Elizabeth Ward. One day we were watching TV and Austin came up and said, "Hey, Mom, is there any place in Texas or nearby that we can mine for crystals?" The mother recalled. She quickly searched with a Siri and found information on Crater of Diamond State Park. By the way, that's a nice little city down there. And I've been out on the state park, but I got to tell you what, if it's wet in any way, shape, or form, that dirt that they have down there just sticks to you like glue. It just gets all over you. So just know your kids are going to get dirty. You're going to get dirty if you get out there in it. I sent the link to James, and he's like, "Oh, wait, that's only like 6 hours away, so we can go." The gym named the Ward Diamond after them was found on the family's second day of searching. The first day was long and cold, but 9-year-old Adrian encouraged the family to come back the next day, and they found the gem. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was different than everything else that I had found, said the dad. Wayman Cox, an assistant park superintendent, compared the diamond to a corn kernel. It has a dark yellowish-brown hue and the beautiful metallic luster that's characteristic of all crater diamonds. And they got a picture of it. He added that crater diamonds formed in the Earth's upper mantle and were carried to the surface by an ancient volcanic pipe millions of years ago. Most are chipped, broken, or include flaws from the immense geographical forces that they endured. Given its current size, you can imagine how much bigger Mr. Ward's diamond might have been if he had found a complete crystal. What lies ahead for the diamond is unknown, and Ward said he's open to selling it or keeping it. "I'd have to see how much it's worth first," he said. He also encouraged fellow park visitors not to give up on their first day of digging. Listen to your kids. All right, listen to your kids about their dreams and what they want to do, his wife added. Arkansas State Parks told Fox News Digital that park employees are not trained to grade or appraise diamonds or other rocks and minerals. I'll have to see how much it's worth, said Ward. I'll take it to the right people. Our primary training involves properly identifying and registering diamonds for guests who find them. Anyone interested in having their diamonds graded or appraised can reach out to a certified gemologist who has had special training to properly grade gemstone quality and estimate value. Ward's discovery adds to a growing list of substantial gems found by visitors at Crater of Diamond State Park. An Oklahoma family unearthed a 2.79 carat diamond back in September, thanks to tools that they had bought at a dollar store. In April, a Minnesota resident unearthed a stunning 3.8 carat brown diamond at the park, a find that he compared to a candy wrapper. So some people have all the luck. But you know what? You got to go out there and do some digging and sifting and see what you might find. You just never know. I mean, I'm sure a lot more people have gone out looking for gems than who have found gems. All right, we need to get our final break in here on the Dave Elswick Show. So let's do that, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up the show and talk about maybe what we'll talk about next week here on the Dave Elswick Show on 101.1 The Answer. All right, let's get to the last few stories I have here to deal with today on the Dave Elswick Show. We'll get back together then on Monday, and by then I'll know how my Indiana Hoosiers did, and I'll either come in to go to work next week with a smile on my face, or I'll come in with a frown. But you know, however this ends tonight, to be honest, as being an Indiana sports fan, and by the way, I root for the Razorbacks as long as they're not playing Indiana. Because I followed Indiana for years, for 70-odd years as far as sports go. But, I mean, following football was just a matter of following it because they didn't win very often. When I got out of high school, I kept following it because I kept track of some of my fellow football players from high school that went to IU in Michigan and some other different places and played in the Big Ten. But I wanted to end up with this story today. A Minneapolis city council member is calling for the arrest of the ICE officer who shot this woman good. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about these people who want to get involved in this investigation of this shooting, and they don't want to have anything to do with ICE. In fact, they'd like to put them in jail and find them guilty. They've already said that the guy's guilty. He's a murderer, is what they've said. And those type of people you don't need involved in a investigation. Anyway, this is spreading all over the place. Minneapolis City Councilman Jason Chavez of Ward 9 called for the arrest of the Immigration and Customs officer who fatally shot Renee Good. I'm here on the behalf of my entire community, echoing the calls to arrest, to prosecute, and fire this ICE agent. Now, does that sound like a guy that could get involved with the investigation and do an independent and unbiased investigation? I don't think so. And he wants to hold those accountable that were complicit in the crime. Chavez said during the mayor's press conference Friday morning. Our immigrant neighbors are here to work. They're here to provide for their family and to achieve prosperity. Instead, what we're seeing in Minneapolis and across this state is ICE kidnapping our family, following folks driving to work and kidnapping them, following people as they're heading to school or to the daycare, picking up our immigrant neighbors from bus stops. Okay, a bunch of that is just pure BS. It's not even happening. But on top of that, if they're here illegally, what's the big heartburn? That's what I'd like to know. Look, the United States cannot be the end of the line for anybody that says, well, I can probably do better if I move to the United States and I'm going to go in and become and live in the United States illegally. No, you can't. We got to stop that from happening. Neighbors are struggling to afford groceries, they're picking them up as well. Well, I'm sorry that that's happening, but they're the ones that chose to come here illegally. I didn't force them. Did you take a gun down to the border and hold it to somebody's head and said, you're going to come with me to the United States of America? I don't believe that that is what has happened here. So I don't understand people who want to overlook illegal immigration. It costs this country multiple $1 million a year in different states across here in Arkansas. It costs $200 or $300 million to take care of the illegal immigration people that are here. And I don't know about you. I just think that money could be better used, or even better yet, be left in my wallet for me to use it as I choose. And you can call me greedy, you can call me unfeeling, you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. Doesn't bother me. If you come to this country and you come legally, I welcome you. If you come to this country and you come illegally, I want you gone. It's that simple. That's a pretty simple way of looking at it. So, but more of this stuff is going to happen because of these politicians ramping things up. Wayne Beach sent me a thing today, said that if you are in public assistance, why are you sending money out of the country back to Mexico or whatever? I'm sorry that your country, Mexico, if they want it, could be one of the richest nations on earth as well. They got rare minerals and they got oil under their country. They got a lot of things that are positives for them. I can't help that their people would rather come to the United States, and I don't know, maybe they're coming not to work, but maybe they're just coming to leech off of the people of the United States. I don't think that should happen either. I think the Supreme Court was wrong back in the 50s when they said that it was the responsibility of the United States, of these illegals that come here into the United States. It was our responsibility to educate them. I don't think that's my responsibility. That's the responsibility of the parents down in the country that they lived in to make the changes that need to be made in their country so that their children can get a good education and have the Mexican dream, We're out of time. Enough of my yelling from my soapbox for this morning. Anyway, have a great weekend. Go IU, and I hope that you have a great time this weekend. Go out to have dinner somewhere and go take in a movie as well. I'll see you on the radio at 7 a.m. Monday morning.